Alrighty, so we are getting in here on Gibraltar. Hex, what are you seeing coming out here from the defense right now?
No surprises just yet. I did allude to the fact that Shadowburn will probably be playing Genji and nothing but Genji, and that is what he queues up on. Now, Raucus is so far on the Ana as well. It does not look like they're playing any tricks. They will add in 3 tanks to this composition. Too Easy, Forsaken, and Fact and Fiction on Roadhog, Zarya, and Reinhardt respectively. And of course, Grego playing Lucio. I don't think we've seen him play another hero in this tournament so far.
No, he has not.
Does he need to, though, with the Lucio he's been playing? It's actually...
He's so good on Lucio.
It's actually interesting, too, like, just seeing his play on Lucio as well. And the fact that C9 had 2 incredibly good Lucio players. Adam, of course, doing great things earlier for C9. Grego doing great things right now for FaZe. A little bit sad to see the Dream Team broken up there in some respects. That was a really good support double combo that they had. Not that Rolf is doing bad for C9 here at all, but... It sort of really shows you what C9 had for a long time.
The best teams in the world, in my opinion, always have like the best combinations of supports. Cloud9, of course, had Grego and Adam. Then you look at Envious, and I think you can't say enough about Chips and Harry Hook. But Envious is not here. So anything interesting on the offense?
Well, take a look here at the offense as they roll up. They will be running the Ana Lucio combo, so pretty standard across the board there. Hyped on the Zarya, Agility's on Roadhog. Grim Reality, not on McCree, will be on the Reaper. And really what you have to expect here is that they're going to be relying on Agilities getting early pickoffs, and I don't expect them to be too aggressive up until that point. That's sort of the nature of these hog-powered offenses, but Shadowburn, oh my, what in the...
There you go.
Shadowburn, I know they say Shadowburn doesn't talk too much on voice comms, but probably had a few choice words for that one as the path is opened, and here come the Immortals.
I was going to mention that they know where he likes to set up. He likes to hang out there as a Genji behind that rock, and that hook just completely shut them down. So they're going to take a lot of ground here, but Grego takes out his counterpart and Chance early, making this fight a one-sided. Shadowburn has enough of that hook, wants to get vengeance, so he comes up on Reaper instead, takes down Nomi. Agilities does try to equalize it, but they're going to back out and wait for this fight. A beautiful hook from Too Easy takes down Ethan towards the end.
It's a good recovery coming out from FaZe there to deal with that from Worlds, where Shadowburn just got completely caught. One of the more outrageous hooks I've seen, but now on Reaper. And part of the reason Method is Madness for going Reaper here is that it is really good at punishing enemy Roadhogs.
You want to double check the overlay as I read chat to make sure my lobby's fine. They're saying something.
It is completely fine here. There was a moment where it was a little bit messed up, but it got fixed in process.
You know how chat is about overlays. Anyway, they're going to rotate in through this server room, get a lot of ground. They're going to rotate all the way through top. I love this. You don't see enough teams do it, in my opinion. They're going to go all the way around to swap positions here as the offense takes a defensive vantage point.
And Shadowburn right now, this is quite the rotation coming out here from the defense. Shadowburn, though, going to drop down on the offense. They go in right into the Graviton. Hype setting them up, sets up Agilities for the first kill. Too Easy, though, countering in turn. 5v5, both Hogs having a say in this, but Too Easy on the Grim Reality. Not going to win that fight. Nano Boost too strong, and still anyone's fight as Grim Reality still up and around. Factor Fiction going to fall, and both teams just brawling out as looks like Immortals will be taking a slight advantage, but Shadowburn's still up. It still could turn the other way.
Shadowburn's been tank hunting for the last minute or so. He tried to take that Zarya down earlier, but now he's got a Zarya of his own to help him out. He's going to have Death Blossom at the ready should he feel that he needs it, but they're doing enough damage and enough bullying that they don't need it just yet. Raucus at 50% before they get that ultimate spinning combo up and ready. Agilities is over on the Genji. He gets eaten by a huge hook.
Oh my goodness. The hook from Too Easy. This has been just a game for Roadhogs in general, and take a look at this here. Agility is, of course, no longer on the hog, but might be wishing he was after that hook. And Shadowburn can have Death Blossom up for the next fight. So with a minute left, FaZe in a great position here. This is arguably going to be the last push coming out from Immortals. They need to make it count. They don't really have really anything to go on alt-wise here as FaZe is fully loaded. This is going to take a miracle of miracles for Immortals as Shadowburn gets a nano boost, goes to the back line, just YOLOs to the back, ends up getting 2 nonetheless. 2 quick kills here from FaZe, and this might be it.
Very nice bio grenade, does get everyone very low, but a late Graviton's going to shut down that area of entrance. Now they're all kind of scattered about. Agility's trying to get into the backline, gets a bubble, but he's going to have to pull out some heroics here. He's all alone, pulls out the Dragon Blade instead.
Dildy's with Dragon Blade trying to turn this back around, ends up getting booped in the back by Grego, was at low HP, and 24 seconds remaining. This is going from bad to worse right now for the offense. They do have a late nano boost coming up. Grim Reality does get the build of Death Blossom, but he's just getting booped and bopped around, not able to find a good moment here, and just sort of getting rope-a-doped.
Wow, that
Shadow does come down from Nami, sets up height for 2, and Grim Reality finally spins on top of the payload, will pick up 2, and at the very end, despite dealing with what was a big ult disadvantage, they're able to wipe, come back in, and end up taking the points. So, to some extent, I feel like that was a bit of a misplay in ult economy coming out from the side of FaZe.
There was 2 excellent displays of patience. One, Grego completely held on to that sound barrier really well when they did boost Grim Reality, but Grim Reality, knowing that they just dropped the sound barrier, didn't try to Death Blossom through it, even though sometimes that can work out, saved it instead for when they truly needed it, didn't fully engage in that fight. So patience from Grego, only matched by Grim Reality's patience, ended up getting that fight at the very last second on Gibraltar. Seems to be the theme.
Alright, and we see the Graviton coming in once more. Nomi immediately getting in on Marcus. Shadowburn, though, firing back, is into the backline. About to have a Death Blossom, could just be spinning here in just a moment, and 2 extra kills to the FaZe, might not need to. See Grim Reality kind of off here on an island. Reaper versus Reaper, Shadowburn calling for reinforcements, and that will be enough to take out Grim Reality in that 1v2. And just like that, FaZe now, another maybe 2 team fights away from holding here in Hangar. The pressure is on Immortals once more.
Let's talk about Too Easy being a little bit variable. Sometimes he has great games, sometimes he has less than great games. So far, he's hitting every hook, and importantly, hitting his damage too. A very long-range right-click took down a retreating Lucio there too. It does appear that Too Easy's on right now.
Too Easy is having a good day. We noted that earlier, and it's definitely going forward, which is good omen for FaZe in general. But here comes Jildy's Dragon Blade is out. Goes to that backline, gonna be stymied here by the sound bear, ends up getting slept, and while this is going on, Shadowburn Too Easy just going crazy in the backline of the Immortals. Just not the best team fight for them. Now they're gonna be down Dragon Blade going to the next fight, and a lot of pressure gonna be on Grim Reality to find the best moment for a Death Blossom, because with 45 seconds left, they will be down to 1 final attempt here in the Hangar phase.
Another picture-perfect sound barrier from Grego there. How do you know the other team used a bunch of ultimates? It's because they nailed a perfect sound barrier. Yet again, it's got to be so frustrating to play DPS against Grego's Lucio, because every time you feel you're about to make play of the game, here comes a sound barrier and you can't do anything about it.
All right, well, here we go. The final push is on the way here. Graviton get come out here from Forsaken early on, pulls in 4 members of the Immortals. Start things out, sends up Shadowburn for 1 kill. And meanwhile, it's Tickle Grim Reality. Will he be able to turn this back around? Has to Wraith form in a not great situation. Not gonna have the Death Blossom he's looking for. Graviton comes in towards him. He gets moved back. Does get 2 at the very least. But with so many people dead, I don't know if it's gonna be enough. Shadowburn and Too Easy regulating the leftovers here. And that should be it for FaZe. FaZe gonna come in here with the second point hold. A little bit of extra oomph on the chance at the end. But it's a good hold from FaZe, and now FaZe well set up to take the first map.
It was a nice Graviton to get them before they got in. You don't really want them to be able to fight on the card. It forced them to fight in that really awkward area on top of the platform and then get into the room. Shadowburn just cleaned up, got himself a K there, and again, Too Easy not missing any hooks. A really solid defense there. Almost held the first point yet again, but only have to get halfway through the shuttle phase does FaZe themselves to be able to win this Gibraltar.
Yeah, FaZe not making the same mistakes as when they played on Cloud9, going too late into first point and then getting spawn camped and spawn fragged, and they lose control of the Hangar phase. They made sure they got control of the ship, and they never really let Immortals get too much ground. I think, you know, Grim Reality, even though Reaper is the right choice, considering that Too Easy is for the most part playing Roadhog, is just not as good as he is on Crete. And because of that, that gives a little bit of free reign to Shadowburn. I mean, the Roadhog is what made Shadowburn go Reaper in the first place, but you can tell that Grim Reality, just like a lot of other people, can't get as much done as he probably wants to.
Now let me ask you this, Slasher, just on a more meta note here. Is that a case of the game just showing a little bit more maturity now, where we're getting to a point where you have people that have played so many hours on a character that they sort of defy whatever the meta might be, in the idea that, hey, maybe it makes sense to go this, but your X is so incredibly strong that it's better for you to go on that instead?
Yeah, no, I really think so, because only very few players, I would think Tavik is a good example, have such a good ability on so many heroes that they're able to flex into what is really necessary. when sometimes some players are only really, really good on one or two heroes, and it feels like they should just stay on there even though the meta would dictate they go to something else.
And that's interesting. I think that's a cool part of the game right now. We'll be interested, of course, as balance patches come in, maybe favor some teams more than others. And the weird thing is, Surefour is also multi-talented. Just his McCree has been so transcendent that his McCree sort of gets favored at times. So it's interesting how that works out.
Well, they go for the hook too easy, does, and interestingly enough, Shadowburn is off the Genji, but still on a Shimada. They're going for the offensive Hanzo here. We've seen him get entry kills at defined fights before, and he's going to stay pretty far back, knowing that that's the area where Genji wants to hang out, and we're going to see a duel between them. But of course, if they get segmented off one by one, Hanzo will generally lose that duel to a Genji.
So Shadowburn getting off the Hanzo pretty quickly here. Actually, I kind of like this. He didn't like what he saw to begin with. Figured that the Winston is going to be a little bit better at dealing with agilities. I'm okay with this swap here. I think sometimes teams might stay in the Hanzo too long, and this is a little bit cerebral coming out from FaZe, but it could be a very good idea.
Yeah, very decisive. They are going to rotate up through the top here. Pretty decent positioning for the offense as they try to get some chip in. The card is slowly retreating back, but they got it halfway through. This is what they like to do, push it halfway through the arch and then try to take a fight at a different angle.
And this isn't bad. I mean, it gives them the high ground. It gives them a better position to poke down. The server room is a lot of protection, but Nomi ends up getting caught out way out of position. Is going to get punched by too easy, and this is going to open the door for more FaZe aggression, where they've actually pushed Immortals here into a back corner. They're fighting their way out of that corner. Grim Reality Shadow was not going the too easy, but this has gone from a controlled fight to a completely uncontrolled fight. It's taking place all over the place, and for FaZe, all they need to do is get 1 or 2 more kills to really bust this wide open.
Factor Fiction does use an Earth Shatter, unable to get the cleanup there as he has to defend himself, but here comes Grim Reality on his own boost, trying to clean up Shadowburn in the back lines, does just that. It is still a brawl there, but right now it looks like it is starting to favor a little bit Immortals. 4v4, who gets the next kill might decide this fight.
This is so messy. Nomi does overextend, gets picked up by Factor Fiction, but here comes Grim Reality, holding on to Death Blossom, might use in a moment, grabs Grego without using it, gonna Wraith form in and out, and just might be spinning the win here in just a second, but nope. Gonna find himself sleeping first instead, as it is a nano boosted Factor Fiction, just trying to regulate space around this card, and what has been one of the messier fights I've seen. Earthshatter comes down though, knocks down 2, and FaZe might have cracked the code.
A lot of healing done there by Raucus, because this is the second time that Factor Fiction got boosted in this long, drawn-out fight. Raucus does show up in the kill feed on the left side too, so he is starting to actually get some time in, but they are stalling out here. They have designs on coming back in. Hype has done such a good job stalling on his mate. They're going to have 4 back on this card.
This is, like I said,
this is weird.
Call it whatever you will, but this is one of the more ridiculous fights we've seen before Hanger. Just in general, finally, it is going to be FaZe grabbing it. It's nice talk coming from Immortals too easy with a bit of a strange hook there. But now, the upside here for FaZe is that they're going to have a lot of momentum. And remember, they don't have to push this that far. They don't have to fully complete Hanger phase. They just have to get to the halfway point. So, with 3.5 minutes remaining, there's all sorts of pressure now on this Immortal squad.
Yeah, losing those 2 late is going to make sure that they can only play defense on this second half of Shuttle Phase. High ground is really no longer an option. Here comes a sneaky hook onto Forsaken, but he's going to bubble himself away. They do want to try to clean up these tanks in the shuttle, but meanwhile, the card's pushing forward. It's there.
What?
That's a bit of a misplay there. I mean, yes, the whole hog from Too Easy kept them back, but the fact that no one was able to get on it there, that it covered the entire angle, that was problematic for Immortals. They should have at least had a last gasp attempt there, but just like that, FaZe taking first map, now 1 map away of sending Immortals home.
They got greedy up top. They wanted to get a couple kills in the shuttle, and so Agilities was up there. One of the ways you could stop that whole hog from pushing everyone away is hook them. Hook them in. Make sure that you stun it out, and they just didn't have the Roadhog up there to do it. This was the beginning of a never-ending fight, Phase 1.
Now, he hasn't gotten enough love, I don't think, from us yet, but Factor Fiction has played incredible this entire series. He has definitely been one of the best players on FaZe, as much talent as this team has. For sure, since he and Raucus have joined since Oh No, the team has gotten so much better, and he is a big part of why they are so much better, just because of how good he really is on Rhyme and on tank in general. And I actually do like the switch from Shadowburn from Hanzo to Winston. If there's anyone who would know how to deal with a Genji, it would be Shadowburn. And he made sure that Agilities could not do anything on that defensive Genji, made him switch into Roadhog, which actually Agilities is really good with, but it was probably too little too late. FaZe got the cart enough on that first point that even though it was a really scrappy fight, at the end of the first checkpoint, it wasn't enough for Immortals to hang on.
And yeah, I mean, one thing I'll note here, Factor Fiction, I was giving him props in the other series as well, and it's just, he's remarkably consistent. It's a case where you don't always expect your Reinhardt to get kills, but Factor Fiction is able to find ways of getting those kills in rough situations pretty consistently. It's a case where, and also, he's not an easy kill. He finds ways of surviving for a long time, just very good at riding the line between, I need to protect myself, no, I have an opportunity to do DPS. And a lot of Reinhardts, they have trouble riding that line where they go too aggro, they get themselves killed for no reason, or they play too scared, and they might not be dying early, but they're not making any plays as well. Factor Fiction goes on the line between protective and offensive, probably better than most of the Reinhardts in the game, and it's been a joy to watch and a big reason for FaZe's success when they do, in fact, do well.
Next map will be Dorado. That is Immortals Choices. We'll just get side set and we'll jump right into it then. Yeah, I completely would agree with most of what you guys said. I just, that entire Gibraltar, especially the Immortals defense, just felt sloppy. And not only just like the fights in the middle, but you can't lose a map like that, right? Like, that's got to feel just bad. That's got to get in your head.
Well, I think they had to fight as much as they could on first point just because they didn't get it really far along during second point. Yeah, so obviously they made a mistake not even touching the point in the middle of the hangar. But if they even gave up the first point and tried to recover on top of the bridge and gain control of shuttle, it's giving a lot of time to FaZe to just be able to take, one clean fight and then win the map. So it's hard to fault Immortals for trying as hard as they can to just try to win on first point defense. But this really is one of their home maps here on Dorado. And
I need to clarify one thing. I tried to update the side of things on the draft end. I clicked on a random YouTube link. That was the that you guys just heard. Yeah, apparently my clicking is terrible. Sorry, Slasher, continue. I just need to update what that was, so go forward.
This is one of the home maps for Immortals, so I think they have a pretty good chance here in terms of taking this to a third map.
Their Dorado defense, especially yesterday, was a thing of beauty for sure. So I think if they do win this map, it's going to be at stopping FaZe at some point in time. But it is going to be FaZe playing the defense first. And the counterpoint to how good Immortals' Dorado defense was yesterday is that their Dorado offense was somewhat poor in relative to their defense. So we'll see if that ends up being the case here. But I also think we might see a little bit more Widow. Both these teams have played around with the idea of Widow, and Dorado's been a map where she's been popular on. At the height of the Widow mania, Dorado was just where she made her home, all the way to the back line on the wall, and just very difficult to deal with. I wonder if we'll start seeing some more of that come out.
I think Widow and Hanzo are both good at eliminating Mei and just getting one pick and opening up defense, because Dorado is probably maybe the best map of all of the payload maps of securing a first point hold, just because of the archway and the ability to get people within a choke point. So I wouldn't be completely opposed to doing it. We saw Cloud9 and Sherferon Hanzo get one pick on Grego, and that opened up the entire map for them. So Widow has that same potential possibility.
That's actually a really good point brought up about Mei, where Mei is known for just living forever, but even though she has 250 HP, that is in the headshot range for characters with high burst damage like Widow and Hanzo, and it's actually when Widow does well in comp. Believe it or not, yes, Widow can do well in comp despite the immediate tilt that comes from people when they see a Widow. I think that's one of her upsides, is just the ability to go through that, but sadly, not going to be seeing Widow here to deal with this defensive Mei that is coming out from the side phase. The offense will consist of Ana, Reinhardt, Roadhog, Zarya, Grim Reality on the Reaper, and Chance on Lucio. So pretty standard stuff coming out, but nothing with crazy burst to actually deal with the Mei.
Yeah, pretty standard 3-2-1, pretty standard defense coming out as well, as they will also run triple tanks, and their one DPS will be a Mei in turn. So variations of the triple that have been popular now, 3-2-1, and a defensive one and an offensive one on your DPS.
We take a look here. Immortals still at full strength, going to be coming up for the high ground after pushing the payload. Pretty methodical push coming out here. Nomi's going to lead the way, and I expect them to speed boost in just a moment. They're not really being too finesse here. They go over to the right. This breaks them into the courtyard, but C9 for now not really being phased, or sorry, FaZe not being phased too much here. Shadowburn able to take down Grim Reality. And just like that, with one quick pick, the defense is going to be able to turn the tables on the offense. Nomi finding himself with no place to go. Rip Nomi.
It's one of the only
Or not
differences.
Rip Nomi, in fact, able to get healed up in time. Surprising that the wall did not end up in his death. And now he's going to come in here with the nano boost. Finds himself in the blizzard, though. Ends up getting frozen. Knocked back right into it. The play's coming out for Shadowburn, setting up Factor Fiction. 2 kills for the side of FaZe. And they're going to be pushing Immortals back.
Only one who's really shown up so far for Immortals has been Agilities. He started off with a nice hook. He is going to go down very late to his counterpart in Too Easy, and we mentioned it before, as Slasher brought it up. Factor Fiction playing great. Yes, the Blizzard helped out there, but just cleaning up everyone, earned himself a 3K there, and it really started off with Shadowburn killing Grim Reality. And if you're only running 1 DPS per side, if your DPS wins that matchup, you're just automatically at a huge advantage.
All right, and you take a look right now. Grego has built up a sound barrier. The support ult advantage definitely in favor of the defense here. And really, once the offense commits, they can counter sound barrier and just roll into him. And that's exactly what they're going for. Counter sound barrier's out. Too Easy takes down Hyped. First kill here to the defense. And again, with Hyped down, it's going to be much harder for Immortals to take this. They have to back out once more. And they're slowly running out of time. Only a minute 49 remaining as the Earth Shatter comes in. Factor Fiction still up for blood. Picks up the double kill. And the only real upside here for Immortals is at least they're going to have a ult advantage when they come back in.
Another 3K from Factor Fiction, no big deal. They tried to retreat, but that's what that wall does. You try to enter and they wall you off. You try to retreat, they wall you off. Killed 2 on that as well. Just so great at segmenting these teams, and the architecture is just perfectly designed for a Maywall to completely punish a team. Now they are going to have an ultimate advantage, but they're going to push into a nano boost as well as another Blizzard. We've seen how impactful Blizzard is, not just on Anubis, but the first fight as well.
Forsaken ends up getting hooked, but counters with a mammoth graviton. 5 people are in on that. The Blizzard is in. Everyone frozen stiff. There's no kills coming off of it right away, but it definitely puts a damper on this offensive push. But coming in towards the end, Forsaken still standing strong, but not for long. Grim Reality does get the punish, and offense might be turning this around yet after what was a very good opening from defense. Shadowburn completely outgunned here. No amount of crouching is going to save you in that situation as Grim Reality explodes out here on the Reaper. Should be a take from Immortals after what was a trying time. If they had lost that fight, they very likely would have lost this map outright.
I'm not even certain how they did not lose that fight, because they got Graviton, then the Blizzard came in, then an Earthshatter came in, but none of the people caught up, and that really died. All the control effects were there, but again, not the damage follow-up. It was my biggest gripe on the Shadowburn's May before, is that yes, he's getting the Blizzards on, getting things like that, but not finishing kills, and using 3 enormous control ults like that, and not winning that fight is astounding.
I would say a lot of it. I mean, it was a good sound barrier to just keep people alive in that situation, and that's what it's there for. And the timing had to be impeccable. If it was too early, they all would have died. If it was too late, people would have died before the sound barrier even came in. So good timing there coming out from Chance. Although, as I say that, Chance getting hooked in by Too Easy from above. And now with a 6v4 advantage, it is just all going the way of FaZe, cleaning up. Grim Reality, Nano Boost, Death Blossom getting surprisingly a little done there. And honestly, it was done after they're down too. Don't think it was the best decision.
Misstep Grego, though, as he tried to sound barrier to keep his team alive, not necessarily getting the line of sight. Not everyone really got that sound barrier, so that allows this fight to continue. Hype does switch off. He was at Soldier 76 briefly, but I think that was a first point remnant. He's going to try to take the high ground on his Diva. It's one of the heroes that we used to see Hype on a lot, is playing this Diva, always controlling the high ground, and this fight continues as they're pushing forward with a bit of an advantage.
They do have a little bit of an advantage here, but you take a look at the defense. Factor Fiction has an Earth Shatter. He's so deadly at this. Graviton gonna set him up. Might not even have to drop it here. Just W mouse ones into that swirling vortex. 3 kills here from FaZe. And now Factor Fiction gonna be able to save that tank ultimate for the very next fight. And again, with a minute 15 left, Immortals not exactly working with a huge amount of time left to their name here. It's gonna be rough.
On the couple maps that I've seen FaZe play Dorado defense, this is essentially where the payload stops. This is where the line ends when teams are trying to push. They seem very comfortable defending the second point archway. That's a huge pick,
take down Grego. That is a big pick. Grego didn't have sound barrier up, but still having Lucio's big. Still though, Factor Fiction finds his way in, immediately pins Grim Reality after knocking down 2. Could not have a better opening. Hype takes him out. We take a look at this. Agility's in the back. Whole hog, nano boost on the way. Doesn't get too much for it. And Immortals, they're winning this fight in numbers, but they're highly poked down. They're going to have to regroup here for a second, and that's going to give time for FaZe to reinforce this.
This fight's taking way too long. They used a lot to get over here. Now that you rarely even see fights happen over here. Too Easy has baited them over here rather than pushing the cart. Allows his team to get back on point and reinforce. They will die kind of late. Can Grego be the hero and live? He is so elusive. He does go down.
And look at this, Grim Reality ready to put the stake in this team fight right now. Has Death Blossom out there ready. Gonna teleport for high ground. Will be ready to come in over the top on the FaZe remnants as Immortals struggles to stay alive. 5 seconds left. And here he goes. Nano Boost is out. He spins right to the back. Takes out 2 immediately. And looking for more. Powered up by that Ana. And this should be Immortals taking this point. But it took every last little bit of time for them to bring it here. 1:30 left after capping.
90 seconds to go, as you mentioned, and it's really kind of slow going here. Are they going to try to get aggressive in their positioning to deny the defense from setting up top? It does not appear that they're going to be able to. Well, they're trying maybe. They were going to rotate the D.Va up here to at least harass them as they do try to set up in that perfect Dorado defense position. A blind hook comes in and misses, and now a defense completely set up for FaZe.
Defense fully set up. Grego gonna drop the sound bear, and here comes FaZe once more. The sound bear is pretty much all they have here, by the way. They have to make the most of it with good mechanical skill after the sound bear. Sound bear has gone down. Only 1 kill from it. Shadowburn, though, has built the Death Blossom. Needs a little bit more health, but this is a prime position to spin into the enemy team, and he's gonna do it. Takes down 2 at the very end. Sets up Factor Fiction for 2 more. And that is going to be a hold coming out from FaZe. Now 35 seconds left. It's going to be the last moment dash coming out. Oh, they're staggering hyped. Look at this.
That's really smart.
That is very not good for the Immortals.
It's also one of the biggest downsides of running a D.Va is you see that more often on D.Va than any other hero, that once they're desuited, the team will refuse to kill her so that they can stagger that death really late, knowing that they're completely safe from a desuited D.Va. It's not any sort of threat.
Hyped had to switch off to the Tracer here to just try and get to the fight. He does get back to the fight in time. Both teams string out 1-1 here. Too Easy on the Grim Reality. Gunforce out the Wraith for him. While he's in Wraith form, that means no Death Blossom is on the way. And while he's stuck there in the ether, his team is dying all around him, which means the odds of him getting a Death Blossom way worse. But Nano Boost comes in late in the fight. Still will go to the back. Deletes Too Easy. Looking for more. The Tank Shredder himself right now. Grego booping him back, buying some space, and now Nano Boost time is out. But still Immortals moving up the card as Grim Reality still able to connect on 2 extra kills from that Death Blossom. And Immortals not getting in here just yet.
Can he hero this? He gets 4 on his Earth Shedder. Already started with a couple kills. A late Graviton comes in, but everyone is dead. There is no follow-up for it. Forsaken trying to be his own follow-up. Gets in there. Too Easy gets a kill, but he's taken down by Hype. This is very scrappy. 4 remaining on the cart, but most of the kills coming from Immortals right now.
Immortals, this is a truly heroic last effort. It was looking like they're getting stopped. They're still in it. Shadowburn goes to the back with Death Blossom. Only grabs Hyped. Not the best pick off here. Trying to get on Nomi, but Nomi, a master at just keeping him out. At least for now. Sunbear, though, comes in from Grego. New life for the defense. Factor Fiction picks up 2. And just like that, FaZe will be holding. But Immortals definitely made it interesting at the end and bought themselves some very valuable space on what is a hard-to-push last point.
It's a hard map to completely finish out, and they got it just about as close as you can, so Immortals should feel pretty good about that. It's a decent result on Dorado, especially against FaZe, who's been stopping teams, as I mentioned, mostly at about 2nd point.
At the same time, FaZe, even in their LAN tournaments, has had difficulties closing out maps when they probably should much sooner. And a lot of the times that's a result of Shadowburn overextending, which you saw even on first point where he went, they Zarya ulted all the way on top of stairs, then they Mei ulted, no one died, then Immortals was able to push through, then FaZe had control of the bridge, and Immortals still pushed through, and then Immortals almost kept it out right there when FaZe very well should have been able to close it out. So it's a not so great ult side of Forsaken. That is, as I mentioned before, I think a weakness that Immortals has to exploit. But still, Immortals got the cart far enough that they have a decent chance of closing it out and sending this to a 3rd map.
And yeah, I mean, just to add on to that there, I think the key is just getting the extra space around that last bend. It might not seem like that big of a deal, but teams fight tooth and nail for those last meters on this point. And for Immortals, there's a difference between something that would be incredibly hard for them to defend and something where now it's more in the realm of possibility. I still think their best chances of getting a hold here on first, not super easy, but still can be a possibility.
I'm really excited to see this offensive composition, though. Shadowburn and Raucus are going to be on the combination of Pharah and Mercy. This is a combination that sometimes it'll get stifled at first, and they'll switch off it immediately. But when this combination works, especially on Dorado, you can take so much advanced ground that you can just roll over a team with 2 heroes the entire time.
All right, so we'll get to see some of this patented Shadowburn Pharah, and you take a look at the defense. Defense doesn't have a good answer to this. They're going to have to swap Grim over to McCree most likely, but that means that Grim is going to have to die, respawn, and they're still going to have to be holding on the first, which honestly isn't that likely. The run back is pretty darn long here, so FaZe on just the early matchup, definitely with an edge, and we'll see if they can capitalize on it.
And we'll see where they want to rotate with this combination. Gone are the days where you'd send your Pharah and Mercy all the way around the backside because teams have just learned how to adapt to that, and you usually just give away a life for free. But the Roadhog fight coming up over the top, they're going to try to help it out. Shadowburn not finishing those kills, though, as the fight commences on the stairs. They're going to use the wall to retreat. Meanwhile, Factor Fiction all alone on the cart getting a little bit of progress.
Scary thing here, though, is look at Shadowburn. He almost has Barrage up from that early exchange, is still applying the pressure, and even though Hyped is doing an okay job of, like, just giving a little bit of pressure with Icicles, it's not ideal. Too easy. Takes down the Ana early on. They're not going to have to worry about the nano boost. Shadowburn does have Barrage up, but he lost his pocket healer in Raucus, so he's going to have to back up a month, but you take a look at this. Once Grego gets nano boost, I think this nano boost is going to be heading to the Pharah.
Very possible. That's Shadowburn's fault that Raucus died anyway. He should not have gone in as aggressively as he did. And as a Pharah, your options are usually leave your you leave your Pharah to die, or go in and support him. And he ended up getting himself into hook range. Dodges that hook right there. It's too easy. He's going to initiate this fight. Blizzard coming down though.
Shadowburn coming right to the back, Barrage out, uses it all on Nomi, ends up getting punished in return. Resurrection will bring him back to life, but Grim Reality has done terrible damage to this backline and has no signs of stopping here just yet. Takes down Shadowburn out of the sky as a Reaper. What has been going on today in Reaper versus Pharah? It's just been a thing is Grim Reality unleashing the beast, rolling right in to this FaZe squad, and now FaZe, despite seemingly having a good matchup early on, they haven't really been able to capitalize on it. The Shadowburn switch off here to a Genji, just something more comfortable in the last 2 minutes.
Well, this FaZe team will be stubborn about their picks sometimes. We saw it when he played Hanzo, had a couple really poor lives, then won a match for them on Hanzo. So they are not the type to give up on something easily, but now your Shutter comes down as they try to even push in as Grim gets a couple more kills.
Nano boost is in Shadowburn here, only able to get 1 here so far. Not the best positioning, not even the best nano boost timing. I don't know, FaZe seeming a little bit discombobulated right now, and as Jildies picks up Forsaken, it's not getting any better, only a minute 20 remaining. Soon, FaZe is going to be down to their last push, and you take a look at the resources going into it, they will have a Resurrection, they'll have Earth Shatter and Whole Hog, but it's been a little bit rough for them. They think they have Mayav swords, but Jildies able to punch Shadowburn in turn.
Now the fight is... These fights have happened in the weirdest spots. They're all fighting over stairs
so
now
strange.
in large pack, but Grim Reality does take down Factor Fiction during that. And as you mentioned, they just look a little bit out of sorts. One last good combination coming in here. 50 seconds left. As old school as can be. Graviton into Barrage, Resurrection if it all goes wrong.
Shadowburn right now going to about the most standard of spots, but Jildies again, another big hook. He has been on fire in this matchup here thus far. Factor Fiction though, firing back, takes down Nomi. He's gonna fall in return. Resurrection's up. Full strength now for FaZe. Everything on the table. They must win this fight. Barrage over the top. Down goes Chance. Shadowburn looking for more, doesn't get it. Fighting Grim Reality, and Grim Reality shoots him out of the sky. Reaper on anti-air duty all day today. It's been working out.
This is so
the defense
scrappy.
powered by Agilities and Grim Reality moving in once more. They're pushing out FaZe, and we might just have that full hold here on Dorado.
Well, Agilities and Grim Reality got the up, but right there was a beautiful Blizzard in the backline that forced Zarya to use the Graviton in a really terrible position. They got nothing out of it. Forsaken then got cleaned up. Now it's desperation time as Shadowburn switches to the Genji now. Too Easy is on the Tracer, just trying to get some bodies on the cart. They're going to need heroics.
If Shadowburn somehow pulls us back as Genji, I'm just, oh my goodness, the Factor Fiction Earth Shatter sets up 2 quick kills. FaZe is coming back. What is going on right now? Immortals just about had this wrapped up. Ethan going down, Shadowburn, the beast being unleashed in the back once more. Too Easy takes out Grim Reality. What in the world is happening in this game? FaZe, they stay alive.
stay alive, 220 to get to the next point. All the momentum in the world on their sides. And I think the Shadowburn guy is a pretty good Genji. He's going to have his Dragon Blade up now. Forsaken is going to have a redemptive opportunity for a good Graviton momentarily. This comes down to just play your best heroes. And everyone just decided to switch to their best heroes instead of trying to run the combo. And look at what a difference that made.
They drop the Mercy and Pharah. They come in with terrible positioning where Too Easy has to sacrifice his life just to get it in overtime. And Immortals ends up folding like a cheap suit. I don't even know what to say. It was a great comeback, but oh my goodness. May Shadowburn should just be on Genji. Right now he has a Dragon Blade saved up right now. Nano Boost is in. And here comes Shadowburn once more, moving to the back line. Ana just not wanting any part of that. Nothing she can do to get away. Soundbear coming in a little bit late into the fight. As Grim Reality right now looking for the cleanup. Death Blossoms in, takes down Grego, and this should be another hold here for Immortals.
Yeah, Factor found himself out in no man's land. An honorable death there by Athan in the back lines. He saw Shadowburn coming for him, and he accepted his fate, but he retreated as far as he could, made sure that Shadowburn had to burn a lot of that time with Dragon Blade just securing the 1 kill. And 1 kill on a support is okay, but not with Dragon Blade. You're expecting 2 and 3 kills.
All right, so Forsaken right now has Graviton at the ready once more. Too Easy, where's Too Easy here for the Big Bang? Too Easy not really in a position to do this. Doing a little bit of a tango here with Roadhog.
Oh, he's trying to get up the stairs, I think, because they need to get that Graviton up the stairs, and he needs to be able to get there with follow-up.
Earthshatter coming in here, hyped in a bad position, can immediately get taken out by Shadowburn. Factor Fiction pays his life for that pickoff. 5v5 right now. Forsaken, though, still holding on to the Graviton. Big Bang still absolutely on the menu right now. But you take a look at Shadowburn. He doesn't need a Big Bang, just uses the Dragon Blade, picks off 2, should be able to get in agilities, and Too Easy throws in the bomb for good measure, but it is a 4K for Shadowburn. Why is he not always on Genji again?
I don't quite understand. You'd have to ask him. Oh, Too Easy and Shadowburn have combined to clean up the rest of these kills, and now they are having a little bit over 90 seconds to get to the yellow box of victory, about 10 meters away from the finishing part of this map. Though one positive here for Immortals is that they did get everyone back up. Everyone's respawned. They're in the position that they want to hold, so they do have a nano boost as well. So Forsaken's been holding on to this grab for a while. Too Easy, how Tracer charges, he might be having his part of the combination up momentarily.
Well, here's what's going to happen here is Forsaken can use the Graviton, and Shadowburn will build up the ultimate just from a good Swift Strike if there's like 2 or 3 people in it. But take a look at this. Grim Reality is moving in once more with the Nano Boost.
They trade out.
Takes down Forsaken. They're going to have a 1 minute here. Uh-oh, here comes Shadowburn. He's not even waiting. Nano Boost is out. Dragon Blade is out. Into the back line. All over this Roadhog. Picks up the double kill. And they are almost at the finish line. This is going to be tense. Remember, this is Immortals fighting for their tournament life. Chance going to be dropping the beat here in just a moment. Breaks it right down. Grim Reality isn't there in time to benefit, so it's more of a stalling sound barrier here. They don't get as much value for it. And here it comes Forsaken. In comes the Graviton, sets up for the Big Bang of Too Easy. Factor Fiction rolls in, picks up 2. Just the rock for this team from sending it into first, into now. Factor Fiction coming in huge. Shadowburn takes down Hyped, and just like that, Immortals tournament life might be coming to an end. Has FaZe done it here? Factor Fiction certainly thinks so. The final dash onto Diva puts her in the death corner. And this is looking good for FaZe.
So stalled out. They're finally cleaning up the rest of it. FaZe does pull it out. We talk all day, or I have specifically, about how good Grego's been on his sound barriers. There was a moment there towards the end that a Death Blossom could have perhaps brought it back over the top. King Grim Reality. Back over the edge of the cart went Grim Reality as Grego booped him away from his team, keeping him safe.
And let me just say, just for it to get to this point, Factor Fiction leading the way is Earthshatter setting up Shadowburn just against that backline to do even more. I mean, Factor Fiction, honestly, Shadowburn's getting to play a game here, but Factor Fiction probably the player of the game in my mind here for FaZe with those last man heroics. And it's just, honestly, it's a case where I think Immortals, I don't know if it's lack of experience or just pressure or whatnot, but even though it was crazy plays coming out to turn it back, I feel like Immortals should have had that.
What do you mean? Of course they should have had that. It was 5-on-1. Shadowburn's like flying around the cart. Yeah, I understand. He's best Genji in the world, but like there's no, in what world and universe do Immortals not close that out and send that to a third map. Really, Shadowrun stayed alive, but Fact or Fiction is the one that made the plays to secure them that first point and to get them through the end of that map. But more than FaZe making plays, it is Immortals not closing it out and not finishing a map. We should be going on to Hollywood to decide who is going to be the winner of this series. More on Immortals misplays than FaZe making plays. Because really, I thought Shadowburn going on to Fire Mercy and then staying on Fire Mercy was actually not a bad idea. Because Immortals did not have long-range hit scan. They didn't have McCree. They didn't have Zen. And it was just a lot of misused ults by FaZe in the first 4 minutes of that game. Forsaken got nothing in his ults. Shadowburn killed maybe one person in 2 barrages that he used. Raucus had to use res under the arch without having to use ults first and then res everyone after. And it shouldn't rely on Shadowburn going Genji at the end and heroically staying alive on the cart and then Fact or Fiction having to come in and kill 3 people and then somehow completing the map. Immortals have to be kicking themselves after such a strong hold on first point to not really close out that map.
Couldn't agree more. And I mean, you talk about the factors that went into it. For Immortals, all they had to do, I mean, there was one point where the only thing keeping FaZe in it was Too Easy coming into the cart, had to sacrifice his life as Tracer. They had a 6v5 there with positioning, and yes, you did have that Great Earth Shatter coming out. You had Shadowburn going to his Genji and all the rest, but as great as those 2 factors were, it's just a case where you got to close out teams. You need to step on their throat when you have them down, and unfortunately for Immortals, they weren't able to do that.
All right,
I mean,
so
put them in the best possible position. Tons of hooks, tons of picks. What? Just what? Just why?
So we're heading into our full lower bracket final, but before it was the lower bracket semifinal, regardless of what the overlay might have been telling you, it is going to be FaZe versus Kingdom, and Kingdom, of course, came in very strong earlier today as well, so who knows what we're going to see here, even though, again, maybe a slight edge to FaZe. Clearly, this Kingdom team has been something